Good morning. You're awake. I only had to say it once. That's wonderful. My name is Wendy Sapp. My pronouns are she, her, and I have been a member of this congregation for about 28 years. Yeah, long. Anybody in the room who can beat me? Oh, wow. That's a little unusual. All right. I win the prize today. Well, welcome this morning. We're glad that you're here. We're glad that you're here to be part of this community. We come together so that we can learn to be in community. So we can learn to listen to one another, to hear one another, to struggle together, to forgive one another, and to forgive ourselves. We come together because of our similarities and because of our differences. And we come together to find how those similarities and differences make us stronger. Thank you for taking time today to be here with us. I know that Sunday mornings are time that you could be doing many things, and I appreciate that you are here with us to be part of this community. We'd like to recognize with our service, and I need to get my clicker, the land where we meet. So please join me. At UUCC, we acknowledge that our church sits on Cherokee, Muskogee, and Yuchi land. We also in this space come together with a covenant. And if you're not familiar with that term, a covenant is an agreement, a promise that we make to one another on how we're going to behave, how we're going to act with one another in this space and always. So please join me also in reading this covenant together. We journey together down the interdependent web of existence. We embrace diversity, own our conflicts, and assume good intentions. When we fail, we begin again in love. Justice and compassion shall be our watchwords, and beloved community our goal. Rich, would you come forward and light our chalice? In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share. I will light a second candle this morning for all of the places in our world that are experiencing war, and light this candle for peace, that all may know peace. And now we have a morning has broken for our opening song. It is number 38 in the gray hymnal, if you'd like to use that, and the words are on the screen.
Praise Hello, my name is Gray Henry, and I am the Summer Religious Education Coordinator at UUCC. My pronouns are they, them, and I would like to invite all the young and young at heart forward for our story for all ages. All right. Our book today is It Is Okay to Be Different. It's a good book, isn't it? It's okay to be missing a tooth, or 2, or 3. It's okay to need some help. It's okay to have a different nose. It's okay to be a different color. It's okay to have no hair. It's okay to have big ears. It's okay to have wheels. It's okay to be small, medium, large, or extra large. It's okay to wear glasses. It's okay to talk about your feelings. It's okay to eat macaroni and cheese in the bathtub. Parents, I'm sorry if your kid now asks to eat macaroni and cheese.
From the bathtub or your bathtub?
That's the question. That's the real question.
While the soap, while the water.
Are you eating it in the bathtub or is it on the side of the bathtub?
I don't know. I don't know. It's okay to say no to bad.
Like a fishing rod.
Yeah. And the fishing rod is not very good for the fish. And it's okay to say no to bad things. It's okay to come from a different planet. It's okay to be embarrassed. It's okay to come in last. And it's okay to dance by yourself. It's okay to have a pet worm. I would like a pet worm. It's okay to be proud of yourself. It's okay to have different moms, and it's okay to have different dads. It's okay to be adopted. It's okay to have an invisible friend. It's okay to do something nice for someone. It's okay to lose your mittens. It's okay to get mad. It's okay to do something nice for yourself. And it's okay to help a squirrel collect nuts. It's okay to have different kinds of friends. It's okay to make a wish. It's okay to be different. You are special and important just because of being who you are. Love, Todd.
It's okay to try and sleep in your closet.
Sure, if you want to sleep in your closet.
I tried to do that once, but it was too hard to do.
Ah.
Yeah, because he thought there was he stepped on his flashlight there, and he thought it was a ghost. No, I did not. It just scared me, okay? It was malfunctioning.
Yeah. If you didn't hear that, Thomas tried to sleep in the closet and the toy scared him, so he didn't sleep in the closet, right? It happens.
A closet sometimes scares me. Close your closet, it's haunted.
All right.
Stop.
It is time.
You turn the lights on in your closet.
I tell you what, guys,
Oh, wait.
I have a great idea. Can you guys finish this downstairs? And we will sing you guys, because I know that Gray has really cool stuff planned for you down there. So why don't we sing you guys down the stairs? think I can follow that up with anything. So sorry, you're going to be disappointed now. Thank you. It's okay that I'm going to disappoint you. All right. All right. It is now time for us to settle in a little bit for a moment of meditation. In a little bit, I will invite you forward, and if you would like to select a stone, and it can represent a joy that you're experiencing, a sorrow or a grief that you're experiencing, or a challenge, and you can come forward and drop it into the water here. But before we do that, I just want us to take a moment to settle, to meditate. So set your feet on the floor if you're comfortable with that. Straighten in the seat, settle in. Close your eyes if you would like, or focus gently on something in front of you. And take in a deep breath. Feel that breath settling your body all the way down to your feet. Feel that relaxation moving up through your legs. Continue those deep breaths as they fill your hips and your stomach and your chest. Feel those breaths going down your arms into your hands. And feel them rising up through your neck, to your face, to your head. Take another deep breath. I'm going to ring the chime and listen to that sound as it disappears into the distance. And after a moment, I'll ring the chime a second time. And at that point, Layla will begin playing, and you are welcome to come forward and put your rock into the water if you so choose. I'd like to add 2 more stones, one for the joys and one for the concerns that we keep in our hearts and do not share. It's time for special music. Sebastian Shireman, would you please come forward? Thank you, Sebastian. If you guys did not know, today, oops, let me take this back one, there we go. Today, Cindy Schaffner is going to be speaking to us about disability pride and turning stigma into pride. And this flag on the screen behind me may not be one that you've seen before, but this is the Disability Pride flag. It was designed in 2019 by Anne McGill, a woman with cerebral palsy. There are 5 diagonal stripes going from the top left to the bottom right, and each color represents a different type of disability. Green is for sensory disabilities, such as a vision loss or hearing. Blue represents emotional and psychiatric disabilities. White stands for non-visible and undiagnosed disabilities. Gold is for neurodiversity, and red represents physical disabilities. They're presented against a faded charcoal black background, which commemorates and mourns the disabled people who have died due to ableism, or violence, or negligence, or suicide, or illness, or eugenics. And it also represents the protest against what led to those deaths. So I'd like to, before I pass this off to Cindy, I'd just like to read to you a quote from Judy Heumann, a disability rights advocate who died about a year ago. And this was in her memoir, and Judy said, "They were not medical problems to rehabilitate. We were not medical problems. I was never going to undo the damage that polio had done to my nerve cells and walk again, nor was this my goal. The disabled veterans coming home from the Vietnam War were never going to grow their limbs back or heal their spinal cords and walk again. My friends with muscular dystrophy were never going to not have been born with muscular dystrophy. Accidents, illness, genetic conditions, neurological disorders, and aging are facts of the human condition, just as much as race or sex." Cindy?
Hello, welcome to UUC. I know we all love and miss Reverend Mandy, but she asked me to speak today, and I don't know who's more brave and ambitious, her for asking me or me for accepting. But I'm here proudly to represent the disability community. First, I wanted to originally come up and just give a simple announcement. Hey, happy Disability Pride Month. Yay, everybody, let's represent the 1/4 of the population. But then she's like, well, why don't you just give the whole sermon? I'm like, okay, buckle up. Here we go. My neurodivergent brain can talk about this for days and days and days. So here we go. Yes, my name is Cindy Schaffner, and my pronouns are she, her. And I, with zero hesitation, qualms, it's taken me a long journey in my disability life to be comfortable saying, I'm legally blind. I've been legally blind pretty much the majority of all of my life. And it's all I know. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm very honored to discuss Disability Pride Month, what Disability Pride means to me, and if we have some time, hopefully share some opposing examples of some of the common experiences that individuals with disabilities, for those who live that for the majority of their life, some of those common experiences that they have. We're going to kind of share and expose some of those realities. So before we dive in, I just wanted to share a little bit about myself. So I started losing my vision around age 5 and was legally blind by age 11. So today I have no living memory of, I have no idea what sighted people see. Just like you guys have no idea the spectrum of blindness and what individually we experience and see. It's just as much a mystery to me on the other side of the fence. So it took a long time to get diagnosed with a rare condition. You probably have never heard of it. It's called Stargardt's disease. It's very similar to macular degeneration in that I, over the course of my life, have lost more and more central vision. And now all that I have remaining is just that peripheral side vision, what is over your shoulders when you look straight ahead. So it's very vague, very muted vision, not a lot of color definition, not a lot of depth perception, and zero detail. I get a sense of silhouettes, maybe height, overall build, but that's it. I do not ever in life really perceive race. I do not perceive ethnicity. And really, I have no idea what age people are. So in a way, a lot of people, I hope they can find comfort in me, knowing that I have zero judgment because I have no perception of these things. So that's my normal. That is just life for me. I know nothing different, and so I don't miss anything. And I think that's sort of the misconception that we're going to discuss and go into detail a little bit later about how people just seem to think that's just so amazing, and oh my gosh, how are you a career working mom, and how are you even a mom, and how do you do these things? How do you cook a meal? How do you clean? How do you do all the basic life the same way you do? Just do it a little differently, and that's my normal, and it's okay. So that's a little bit about me. I am missing our clicker, Wendy. Thank you. So, thanks for telling us about the Disability Pride flag. This is something that really means a lot to me. So moving forward, this, hopefully, if I'm on the right slide, is an image that, and I'll give a brief description from memory. Here, it's basically of a woman. She's kind of like in a city sidewalk outdoor setting. She has a white cane in her right hand and gazing down at a smartphone. Is that the right image? Yes. Yes, thank you. So I'm sharing this image because this image I came across 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. I have no idea, but it was shared thousands and thousands and thousands of times across all the social media platforms, and unfortunately it was done so for the wrong reasons. I remember when I first saw this image, it had a very large caption across the top that said, "Oh my God, it's a freaking miracle." I saw other captions, "Her smartphone cured her blindness." People were basically sharing this image, saying and claiming that she's faking it. Because how in the world could someone who's using a white cane, implying that they're blind, could use a smartphone? Screen readers. Thank you. I am a native screen reader user. If it were not for screen readers, trust me, I would not be a professional career person right now. My life is in the digital world. But this image was shared so many times, and it's perpetuating this negative narrative, this really terrible association that people have with blindness, that we're not able, we're not capable, we can't function in society, that we are limited in our abilities because of our disability. And so I wanted to highlight that for many of us, this narrative supports this internal ableism that individuals with disabilities constantly are fighting. For many, it takes a lot of strength and bravery and courage to overcome those fears and anxieties to just walk out of your front door. I'm quite an adventurous. My husband will definitely agree. I'm quite an adventurous person, very independent. I very much cling very tightly to my self-autonomy. And so anytime I feel these fears and anxieties, I am like a bulldog. I want to take them and overcome them. But I have experienced, unfortunately, issues, mentalities, and common these negative stigmas and stereotypes that people have projected onto me by trying to limit what I contribute, the value that I can bring to the table, and believing that I am not capable. And so I'm proud to stand up and say, by God, yes, I am. Make way. I don't care if I'm blind. I don't care what you think. I'm here to serve. And I'm here to learn and to give and to be a contributing member to my society and community. And that's a little bit of my disability pride, which I'm going to talk a little bit more in a second. Next, in a very extreme on the other kind of side of the spectrum, this is actually one of my heroes. Stella Young, she was a brilliant Australian disability advocate and comedian. She gave a TED Talk in around 2014, and I love one of the common things that she's known for. She coined the phrase inspiration porn. Has anyone heard of inspiration porn? I have experienced this probably more than anything else in my disability life because I started losing my vision at such a young age, and I was in mainstream school. Anytime I accomplished something, when I went to college, moved away from my home, I constantly would get this message of, oh my gosh, Cindy, how are you? I am just so impressed. I am so impressed by you. You amaze me. You inspire me. Okay, thank you, I think. I'm doing what everyone else is doing. I don't feel like I'm doing anything special or out of the ordinary, but glad it's making you feel better. So inspiration porn is just that. It's objectifying one's disability to improve or to make someone else feel better. To make them feel like, oh, well, I'm lucky because at least I am not in their shoes type of mentality. And this inspiration porn is one thing that she's very famous for highlighting and bringing attention to, in that, of course, most people were very well-meaning and intentioned when they said this to me, but still at the end of the day, it's quite a bit demeaning. It's a bit condescending and belittling. And that, did you really think so little of what I'm capable of? Like, why does blindness have anything to do with me being successful? So Stella Young, I highly recommend, if you have not listened to this TED Talk, checking her out on YouTube. It is quite a really interesting and thought-provoking TED Talk. So what is disability pride? It is a very unique thing. Everyone has their own definition, their own way they feel it and the way they express it, just like disabilities are experienced differently by everyone. And so to me, I can only speak to myself and my experience. So to me, disability pride, I feel and express anytime I push back against the stigmas and those negative associations and misconceptions and assumptions that people in my inner circles and community and culture have towards me. Anytime I push back on that and say, no, I'm not going to settle for what you think I'm capable of doing. I will determine that. And I am proud that I have been able to stand up and hold true to myself in doing so. And to represent that blindness is a spectrum. It is not this misconception that just like anyone with a disability, whether you are a wheelchair user or not, so many people think that, oh, because they're in the wheelchair, they can't walk at all. And then all of a sudden, when you see them get up and walk maybe 5 steps, you're like, oh, it's a miracle. Why is she in a wheelchair? And blindness is the same way. It's not that you either can see or you can't see. Close to 90% of the blind community is like myself. We have some remaining residual functioning vision, but it is still impaired enough so that we may relate and function more as a totally blind person. But it is a massive spectrum. And so that's what I love to represent, to bust those stereotypes that, do I always have my white cane? No, I don't. I don't always need it. At night, I definitely do. In new environments, I definitely do. Anytime there's steps, stairs, I definitely do. But I don't always. And have you ever been through, this is a funny example I like to share. Have you ever been driving, or riding in my case, through a busy, busy parking lot, and there's not a parking space to be found except for that one beautiful, coveted disability spot. And who hasn't had that experience where you see someone, probably young, say, whip right on in there, plug up that, disability placard up there, and hop out of that car and just walk into the store and think, that person's not disabled. What is she doing? Why is she using? And just get on your high horse. Has anyone experienced, those moments or observed those moments? We all have, and it's part of the human experience. I get it, but that's when we all have to check ourselves and say, maybe there's an invisible disability there. Maybe this is her good day. Rock on. It's not for us to judge. And it's not for us to question. Are there people out there that fake? Sure. There's people out there that cheat on tests too, there's a spectrum to any and everything, but to then look at someone and judge them face value that is not an accommodation that they should be needing or using, it's usually an area that I get pretty passionate about, because oftentimes, how many times have we gotten out of our vehicle? I did not get my disability placard until I was pregnant, because it was no longer just my safety that I was concerned about. And so the kids are always with us, and anytime I get out of the vehicle with the kids and everything, I guarantee you, there's people around me, and I sense it, that I know are looking at our family like, where's the disability in that family? I don't see it. And it's because they don't know me. And I may not have my white cane out that day, because I've been to that store 5,000 billion times, and I'm okay, I'm confident enough that I don't need it. And that's the type of judgment and negative stigmas that I'm here to represent. The invisible disabilities, those instances where we find ourselves just, putting ourselves in a position where we are not thinking with compassion, we're not checking ourselves, and our community continues to just run on with these negative stereotypes and assumptions and misconceptions. So one of the things that you guys can do to help support disability pride, not just in the month of July, just like all causes and topics and things that we'd like to raise awareness about. We don't want to just only do so in the month that's designated for, but we want to do it all year, right? Every day of our lives. But one of the things that you can do is to always just ask. Ask. It's up to us if we choose to answer, but don't make the mistake of making assumptions and judgment without tuning in to the person, their needs, their preferences. One of the things that I absolutely love about UUC, we haven't been going here too long, but I loved that it was the first time in the first place that I felt like, they're really inclusive here, and they seem to really be trying. And it's the first time someone had asked me, hey, is there any accommodations we can provide? Well, thank you so much for asking, because there is. And every Sunday since, I have been receiving that accommodation, getting the slides digitally on my phone, which I read with a screen reader. And it's the first church we've ever gone to that's taking the effort to do that. And I love and appreciate that about this place. I wanted to close with just a few facts. Why do we celebrate? What brought about this whole thing of Disability Pride Month? We're we are 5 days away from celebrating the 34th anniversary of Americans with Disabilities Act. It was signed, yes, yes. The ADA has impacted so many of us, and it definitely was one of the biggest steps towards progress in recognizing disability rights. And so, yeah, about 34 years ago is when that occurred. And that was the first day that was really recognized as Disability Awareness Day or Disability Pride, however you want to coin it. And in 2004, Chicago was the first to have a Disability Pride parade. And it was later on, unfortunately, much later in 2015, that the state of New York, some of the disability advocates, someone stood up and said, you know, we need more than just a day to recognize and educate and expose on disability rights and the spectrum of disabilities. We just need the entire month. And so here we are. New York kind of started the trend of Disability Pride Month. And it is an international movement. Many other countries as well have their own version of it. And so that is why we have it, and it's here to recognize and to acknowledge the struggles that those with disabilities face, and to not belittle them. Don't set what you assume their abilities are and limitations are on them. Ask. Let them come to you. Let them determine what they're willing to come to the table and provide value on. And I just wanted to leave and conclude today with another one of my very, very favorite quotes that Stella Young was also famous for, and it's this one. Hopefully it's on the screen. But it's not about turning lemons into lemonade. It's about turning these negative stigmas, these negative stereotypes, pushing back and turning it into pride. So that's it. Thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you. And just as an aside, I wanted to tell you, you may have noticed we're not up there today. We're not up those steps. That space is not accessible to anyone in a wheelchair, anyone with significant mobility issues, and so we chose to stay on the ground down here as part of the representation of Disability Pride this month. So we are now going to have our offertory, but before we do, I want to tell you about Share the Plate. I see a few new faces in here who may not know, but once a month, when we collect the offering, instead of keeping it within the church, we give it to a group in the community. This month, we're sharing the plate with the New Suffragettes, and this is a group that formed in Chattanooga a few years ago, and they previously met in our church, and their mission is to galvanize public support to actively promote policies that ensure privacy, health care, and reproductive autonomy. They defend women's rights to own and control their own bodies, and they uphold the separation of church and state. And I'd like to invite Nicole McDermott up to tell us a little bit more.
How's everybody doing? Thank you so much for having us. This is my first time here in the congregation. So we used to meet here regularly when we were meeting once a month, but things have changed because now we are busy in a very important election cycle. And let's start by just recognizing some of the other new suffragettes that are here. So we've got a few over here, and Roseanne, of course. Yeah. So if anyone has any questions or wants to discuss anything after the service today, you can approach any one of us, and we'd be happy to share information. The New Suffragettes was founded a couple of years ago. One of our founders, Missy Crutchfield, is here, and she basically had this idea in reaction to the Dodd's decision that overturned Roe v. Wade. And she reached out to some fellow women who might be interested in kind of banding together and figuring out, we didn't know what we were going to do, we didn't know what it was going to look like, but figuring out how we could fight back a little bit. And so we got together at the local Chili's and we just started talking. We just started a conversation. And that conversation led to forming this nonpartisan grassroots organization that is very active. We do a lot, and you may have heard of us. We are involved in a lot of different activities. But in this last year, we have really been hyper-focused on supporting a lot of the campaigns because, as you heard in our mission statement, one of the most important things that we feel like we can do to enact real change here in Tennessee and in Hamilton County is to have as much influence over policies in the legislature, at the state level, and also at the local level as we possibly can. So we are really, really moving from being involved in, our various activist activities like marching and, working with other organizations to support their causes and really getting focused right now on the upcoming elections. And for anyone who is not familiar, we've got 2 important elections coming up. We've got one on August 1st. We've got another one on November 5th. So please, get out and vote. And if I can get up on my little voting pedestal here, I'll just take a little sideline for just a moment, because I think it's really important that people understand what we're up against right now. I think it's really magical whenever a group of people who are focused on love get together in the same room. And I think that's what's going on here this morning. I think that's what's going on with the new suffragettes. And that's really what we're about. We're about promoting those ideas, those policies, and supporting other organizations and businesses that are like-minded and do the same things, that are focused on spreading love and goodness in the world. And I think we can all agree here that we're up against something that doesn't look like that at all. And so Tennessee has been labeled recently as being a red state. And while we're nonpartisan, we want to communicate facts to the people that we're speaking with. And the truth is that Tennessee's not a red state. Tennessee's not a blue state. We were considered a blue state or had a Democratic majority for 40 years in Tennessee. And a lot of people just don't know that. And that changed some years ago, but it could easily change back. What I like to say to anybody that I can get to listen to me is that Tennessee is a non-voting state. We're not red, we're not blue, some call us purple, but we're a non-voting state. In 2022, we were 50th in overall voter turnout in this state. That's dead last. And I think that's really empowering. We can hear that fact and know that information and get really upset and sad about that. But for me and for our organization, it is just what gets us up off our heinies and activated into doing something. So that's really what I want to get across today, is that everybody can have an impact. And now, more than any time in history, or at least my 45 years here on Earth, this may be the moment that is most important for all of us to do what we can. And I am going to be fighting tooth and nail over the next 3 months, August, September, October, and then the beginning of November is the election, right? So anything that you can do, any little amount of effort that you can make to get involved, I would highly encourage you guys to do that. You can get involved with our organization, and you can find us on Facebook is probably the best platform if you are on social media, because we do post our schedule of events there, and we do have a Facebook group that is private, and we monitor it very closely, and we really are strict about who we allow in there. So it is a very safe space. As safe as we can make it on Facebook, let me caveat that. But anyway, if you look up New Suffragettes, we have a front-facing public page, but we also have a private group. You can also get on our newsletter. So if you go to newsuffragettes.net, there is a button. It's super easy to use. 2 questions, your name, your email address, and then you'll get on our monthly newsletter, and you'll get all the information. You'll see what we've been working on the last month and what we're going to be working on the next month. So you have some events that you can get involved with. We're really selective about what we choose to do each month and how we spend our time. So you can know that if you're getting involved with us, that it's going to make a difference. So there's that with our group, but also there are a lot of campaigns going on right now. And one of the things I am most excited about, and I'll wrap it up here, is that our founder is actually running for office. She's running for state senate in District 10. And man, you guys, if we can pull this off, you know, we've been an organization now for 2 years, and we have a state senate candidate. I mean, that's pretty darn impressive. So, yeah, and thank you for stepping up, because I now know, as your campaign manager, and it's not just me, because all of the other New Suffragettes that are here have volunteered on her campaign. Our communications director, our social media manager, our field organizer, our treasurer, all New Suffragettes. So we all know, but this is, I have learned that this is an incredible, it almost seems like impossible task. Like the amount of work, the amount of money is really kind of gross, to be honest with you. But it is, and you have to if you want to be competitive. And it is a weird, bizarre world that we're operating now in. And we are learning, and we're getting it figured out. And I'm very, very hopeful for us that we're going to get this done. But anyway, so get involved in a campaign if you can, and stay in touch with us. Let us know. We also meet regularly. Right now, we're meeting once a month instead of every week, because we're using our time in between to actually get out into the community and do the work. But if you're interested in getting more intimately involved with us, we do meet once a month, and we'd love to have you. We'd love to have more, we call ourselves co-organizers, right? Because we're all responsible for chipping in and helping out. So see us afterwards, find us on the website, get our newsletter, get involved on social media, and come to the meetings. If you want more information, just ask us. Is there anything that I forgot to mention that I should mention?
Well, I just want to say something real quick.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You'll need a microphone so that.
Yep.
Yes. Nicole's very kind. I had a conversation after the Dobbs decision, and I shared it with some close friends and said, share this with close friends, because no one person does anything. This is about a movement of people. So we are co-founders, and we are co-organizers. And this today, I feel so strongly that the leadership of one person is over. This is the time of communities to lead together, listening to each other, rising up together. Truly, the rising tide lifts all boats. And just to close this up, and Nicole's done such a wonderful job, and I'm so proud of all of our sisters. And we're working with 100 Black women. We're working with, gosh, we just had 6 organizations, and Emma, gathered together yesterday. We're like, how can we help you? I mean, we are all about that rising tide, but this is what's on the block.
LGBTQ rights, birth control. They're coming after that now. They've stripped our women's reproductive rights, so now our doctors are leaving Tennessee, and students aren't coming to school here at our universities because they don't want to practice in a state where they may lose their license, go to prison, or be sued. So this is not just about abortion as health care. This is about these doctors also take care of our mothers and our grandmothers and so on and so forth. Book bans, public education is on the chopping block. You name it. There's never been an election more important, an election year, than this year. So go to the polls, get registered, go to the polls, and bring friends, and do what you can, because truly our democracy is at stake. And thank you so much. Thank you.
And that's why she's the candidate.
And I want to be clear that we are donating to the New Suffragettes, not to Missy's campaign. That would be a separate donation you would do outside of this building, because we do believe in separation of church and state. So at this time, we will collect the offering. You can do it online at uucc.org/donate, or you can donate here in the building. Thank you. Please join me in our offertory response. We give these gifts. Please stand as you are willing and able for our closing hymn, number 1053 in the TL hymnal. And thank you to our choir members for helping lead us. This is How Could Anyone? We'll sing this through 2 times. And now the so what. Rev Mandy likes to end the services telling you, okay, so what? What should you take away from this? What can you take with you? I'm not going to do that today because each of you is going to take something different. But I am going to wrap us up with another quote from Judy Heumann, who I quoted at the beginning of the service for our opening words. And a final quote from her. Disability only becomes a tragedy when society fails to provide things we need to lead our lives. Job opportunities or barrier-free buildings. It is not a tragedy to me that I'm living in a wheelchair. Rich, would you come forward and extinguish our chalice? Thank you so much for being here today. It's time for announcements. I have a few up on the screen. Standing Out Chattanooga on Monday at 4:30 and 6 p.m. Monday yoga. Tuesday, the office will be closed, but at 7 p.m. the Eating Disorders group will be meeting, Eating Disorders Anonymous. July 24th at 10, we have small group. At 6 p.m. there is a potluck. And then next Sunday, there will be an earth-based spirituality group at 5 o'clock in addition to our usual offerings. Are there any other announcements?
Just one. A reminder that we'll be doing the food pickup next Sunday. So bring your food for the community kitchen, the food bank, sorry. It goes also to the community kitchen. So be sure to bring your food for that next week.
Thank you. Any other announcements?
Hi, Sandy Kurtz, old white woman. Just to announce that today in the forum room, starting at 3 o'clock, we're having the Tennessee Interfaith Power and Light quarterly meeting for Chattanooga, and all are welcome to attend that.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. On the one hand, I want to just remind everybody next Sunday is Forum again. We're going to talk about the Good Country Index, comparing which countries are contributing to humanity on a global basis and reflecting on that. So welcome everybody to come for that. We meet at 9:30 for coffee and 9:45 downstairs in the Forum room. Second, due to the extra time, I'm not going to start singing Summertime again, but we're gonna have another Summer Nights program this summer. Just as you're walking out there, we had already kind of some fantastic gatherings in June and July. We're gonna come, next thing is August 2nd, we're gonna go to the Chattanooga Theater Center, where Mary's husband is in the program of La Cage aux Feux, and so we're really looking forward to it. Please join us for that, and we're gonna go in August to see a soccer game for all the European-minded and other international fans. And for all the ones like me with other fools in baseball, we're also going to go to a baseball game kind of that's connected also then with fireworks. So please pick up a flyer on the way out. I hope many people can join us. You find my contact information. If you have any questions, let me know.
Thank you.
Good morning, Jen, she, her. For the Earth-Based Spirituality group, next Sunday, we meet at 5 p.m. for dinner, for those that want to do that, and you bring your own dinner. At 6 p.m. is when our actual meeting starts, and we will be honoring the harvesters. It's our first harvest festival of the season. So it doesn't feel very harvesty around here, but there are a lot of people who work hard to make sure that we can eat, and so we are going to honor them. Also, we are doing bingo here at UUCC in the month of August. We have 2 nights, August 7th and August 21st. These are pay-to-play fundraisers, okay? So there is a $5 cover charge to get in. You will get 2 bingo cards. There will be prizes for every win. We will have a finale grand prize at the end. You'll purchase additional bingo cards. There's a poster out there on the board giving all the pricing information. It should be really fun, so please take a look at that and think about joining us and supporting UUCC.
Hi, Camille Winningham, she, her. I wanted to give an update about our Eating Disorders Anonymous meeting. Great news. It's been so wonderful having a safe and accessible building for our meeting. It has grown to now include a second meeting that we have brought to Focus Treatment Center that the residents can attend as well as the public. I'm really grateful that we've had this opportunity to offer accessible, free recovery support for eating disorders in our community. Our meetings are open, which means that you don't have to be suffering from an eating disorder to attend. You can just attend if you're interested, have questions, want to learn more, that kind of thing. There's pamphlets and flyers somewhere in there. You can always come to me too, and I think you could probably find us on Facebook as well if you just search for Eating Disorders Anonymous Chattanooga, and we are listed on the Eating Disorders Anonymous website. So I just want to give that update and to thank this church community for giving us a place to have recovery. So thank you.
And not seeing any other announcements, I want to thank you for joining us today, and blessed be.